I mean, into consideration. Let me say it right. You have to take all this stuff into consideration that's around you. For example, where are we at? How did we get here? What is the most likely scenario after that? So when you're looking at this backside move, these failed rallies, you're talking about an instrument that's up 3,500 points in a matter of a week, which is super excessive for this index. And normally a move like that only comes from oversold conditions, not overbought conditions. That's the two levels of emotion. It's more apt to buy that if you're coming off the bottom after 10% correction, a 15% correction, it makes better sense. But to buy that after a big rally at the all-time highs is kind of a little bit on the insane side, right? So you have that context there, knowing that at some point, and I want everybody to think this way, it's not a bullish and bearish case. The market will remain bullish, I think, for the midterm. It's just that at this moment, the prices got so high and the rallies are become weaker that the people sitting on good profits are going to say it's time to sell. You just need, that's kind of why these rallies take times to fail, because you need all the longer term bag holders, the ones that have been in it for a little while, to have their mind changed. And you're seeing that because you were unable to rally after the CPI. So you had a catalyst. This is where news comes in. You had a catalyst to jump you to get you a better short entry, because since then they've not bought it back up, and they come back up here, it feels, and it drops again. So it's like this thing is failing to get bought back up again. So you had one red day, and now you're failing to get bought back up. You're going to start to see the hesitation. And see, what you have to look at in my mind is the other side of the trade. What would someone do? How their plans would change via management. And I'll give you an example, um, something that I'm in, and how it changes your mind about, because the market will do this, and you need to think about people like that so you can make proper trades. This Palantir. So I've been in and out of this, but I actually ended up buying this thing down at 21 bucks. I bought it back um, probably just about right here actually in the low 30s on the break of this flag. Okay. Now I changed my mind. I talked about this trade when I made it. It was a long-term trade that I was looking 6 months to a year, and I was looking at $100, right? It was a sort of like an investment, like not long-term investment, but I wasn't saying I need the $100 right now. I'm looking at maybe middle of next year. That's how that trade started. That was my idea. Therefore, it made the execution okay. I was willing to add on a dip, but I got this. So I didn't, I'm going to be honest, because other traders won't. I didn't expect that. That was not part of the plan. Now that that's happened, my thoughts have changed. Now I'm thinking maybe it should be sold now, right? Does that make sense? So I was thinking of it, but this is not necessarily the rally I was looking for. And the reason is because I know what long-term sustainable rallies look like, and I know what this looks like, and then I know what happens, that it wouldn't surprise me if you come all the way back down here and then you bounce. So what I'm saying is you had an idea, you executed it, you're managing the trade, and you had this long distance thought, but now it's changed. Your mind has changed, and that's what you're going to see in a lot of instruments like the market. You're going to start to see maybe it's not going up so much anymore. Maybe it's not so high anymore. And then you start making, of course, all your trades from that. And the more that it fails, the more likely it is to move lower. Now, before I get running the chops again, let's take a look at USD ZAR for mega money. Let me ask you this. Do you have a trade on this USD ZAR right now? Mega bucks. Are you making mega bucks? What do you want to do with this thing? What's the idea with this thing? Otherwise, I just give a general consensus overview, which may not fit what you're trying to do. It's really dark. Look at me on the screen. So what I would say about this is, assuming you're not in this trade, you're trying to get in this trade, I wouldn't touch this thing right now. I don't see, this is what we want to understand in decoding charts. What is so ask yourself this, guys. First of all, what is your objective in the trade? And I don't mean I want to make bank, bro, objective. I mean, what are you, if you're buying, what do you want? Realistically, what are your expectations for that based off of the way this thing trades? If you're short, what are you looking for in terms of expectations? And can you achieve those expectations with the chart that you're looking at? Make sense? So um, that's how I'm not saying that's the only way to do it. That's just the way that I do it because a lot of the stuff you look at isn't really tradable based off of that parameter. And here's what I mean. How many pips are we moving here and points are we moving per day? Am I day trading or am I swing trading? The way I look at this chart via the range, I look at it in two different a midterm and a super short term. So midterm, you're declining since March, which is several months you've been in a decline. Now, if you back that up and say, well, over the longer term, we're up. So you have two conflicting trends, but short-term traders, short-term trend down. So you've not made a new high on any one of these rallies, right, Mega? You can see that. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. So the question is, how do you know if I'm not saying that you're long because you didn't say. So let's look at it that way. Decoding charts. No way do I buy that. Why would I buy that knowing that they keep selling that, right? Now, that's selling on rallies. I would want to buy the dip if my goal was to buy, you got to buy the dip. So if you're already in it and you bought down here, you keep it, right? You keep it because you got to move and you can at least connect with the trend or maybe here. And it doesn't look like there's any selling in it right now to create another down move. But if you follow the rhythm of the chart, you'll see that's what you've had. Up, down, and it should keep going like that. So if you're in it, keep it. If you're not, this is not a buy. I would go short on this and probably go short on a trend line. So let's draw a trend line here as a reference guy. Maybe somewhere in there close to this. That's what I would look for as a short. But you have to see the signs of a short. And right now you see got a little bit of red in there, and then you're getting bought back up. And you'll see that here too. They don't go down so easily. So that would be my I don't know what you did with it, but that would be mine. Right now I would say right here, no trade whatsoever. Outside of maybe a scalp, there's no trade here. There's not a definitive enough edge in that trade to take it. And you can make that easier by connecting any pivot. Like you go back to this pivot, remember the box theory, Jerry, you know this one, and you draw a bottom right here. I would sell here, buy here, and stay out of there. Like this is going to be a tough area to get a long trade. Or